US and its allies launched a major military operation against Iran. In the first hours of the operation, moves that set the pace of the war came one after another. Cruise missiles launched from the sea, electronic warfare conducted from the air, and then fighter jets. All these steps served a single purpose: to quickly weaken Iran's air defenses and paralyze its military command network. The kinetic phase of the operation began with orders from platforms belonging to the US Fifth Fleet stationed in the Persian Gulf and the Sea of Oman. In the darkness of night, Tomahawk cruise missiles launched from the vertical launch systems of Arleigh Burke-class destroyers and Ohio-class guided missile submarines were the first signs of the operation. However, these missiles were not aimed at random targets. Each missile was programmed to blind Iran's strategic eyes. The selection of Tomahawks was no coincidence. These missiles can fly under radar, virtually hiding in valleys thanks to terrain mapping and digital scene matching technologies. Iran's early warning radar networks, command and control centers, and coastal defense batteries deployed along its southern coastline were the primary targets of this first wave. Strategic points near Bandar Abbas and Bushehr in particular were the missiles' first points of contact. The basic logic here was to reduce Iran's response time to zero and cut off the flow of data between central command and field units. As the missiles advanced toward their targets, one of history's largest electronic deception maneuvers was simultaneously unfolding in the sky. In modern warfare, how the enemy responds to munitions is as critical as the munitions themselves. The US and its allies deployed a strategy of cheap drones and decoys to test Iran's advanced air defense systems and deplete its munition stockpiles. Systems like MALD tricked Iranian radar operators by appearing on radar screens as a massive fleet of fighter jets. Iran's defense systems began firing their expensive and limited number of interceptor missiles to destroy the hundreds of imaginary targets they saw on their screens. This was a classic resource depletion tactic. However, there was a more insidious purpose to this process. Every Iranian missile fired revealed the exact location of that battery, the frequency it was transmitting on, and its radar characteristics. RC-135 rivet joint and EA-18G Growler aircraft waiting in the sky collected these signals like signatures and plotted them on digital maps. After gaps were opened in Iran's air defense network, the operation moved into its most sophisticated phase. Fifth-generation stealth fighter jets, the F-35 Lightning II and F-22 Raptors, began infiltrating deep into Iranian airspace. The F-35s served not only as bomber aircraft here, but also as flying data centers. Thanks to their advanced sensor fusion capabilities, they detected mobile targets and passive radars on the ground and transmitted targeting data to the F-15 and F-16 fleets following behind. The focus of the attack was not limited to military bases. Strategic decision-making mechanisms in the heart of Tehran, logistics centers belonging to the Revolutionary Guards, and facilities with cyber operations capabilities were taken out one by one. The defense perimeter around critical infrastructure facilities linked to Iran's nuclear program was targeted with precision-guided munitions. The bunker buster bombs used here once again proved their effectiveness in neutralizing concrete-protected rooms meters below ground. So how is Iran responding to this massive pressure? Tehran's defense strategy is based on asymmetric attrition. Knowing it cannot engage US aircraft carriers in open waters, Iran has the capability to turn the Strait of Hormuz into a mine and suicide boat hell. In the maritime phase of the operation, Iran's fast attack boats and shore-based anti-ship missiles pose a serious threat to coalition ships. Additionally, the silos referred to by Iran as underground missile cities were constructed to protect against such air operations. The launch of ballistic missiles such as Shahab and Zulfikar from mobile platforms represents one of the most challenging targets of the operation. Finding and destroying these platforms requires real-time intelligence from satellites and continuous surveillance provided by unmanned aerial vehicles such as the MQ-9 Reaper. The smell of gunpowder from the military operation had barely dissipated when global markets began to price in this development. The Persian Gulf is a strait through which approximately one-third of the world's oil trade passes. In any conflict scenario, it is an inevitable reality that oil barrel prices will skyrocket to triple-digit figures. Experts warn that a prolonged operation could trigger a global energy crisis. Not only oil, but also liquefied natural gas shipments in the region are at risk. This situation could drag the already fragile global economy into a new wave of inflation. The fundamental reason behind the US and its allies' emphasis on a limited operation is this: to cripple Iran's military capabilities without completely collapsing the global economic system.